Right, so a little update on the Jeep. I've had a few people that have requested updates. The Jeep was starting to have some issues. It was losing power, fuel efficiency was going downhill pretty quickly, so I figured it was a good time to get into the motor. So I was hoping that I was just going to need some head work done, but once I pulled the motor apart, I found that one of the pistons was actually broken, and it does appear that the motor was actually assembled that way, because if it had come apart while going down the road, it probably would have taken the cylinder out, but there's absolutely no scratches or any type of damage in the head that would indicate that the piston was coming apart internally as it was going down the road. So in the process of everything, we found that the heads didn't have hardened seats in it, which when I had the motor rebuilt or ordered the motor 20 years ago, they assured me that valve seats would be replaced with hardened seats. So exhaust valves had been wearing into the cylinder heads. They were buried in there pretty good. Luckily, the heads are salvageable from what I understand, and the motor is now been removed from the Jeep and is currently being torn down. We're hoping that it's going to be in the machine shop shortly. If it isn't there already, I don't know. I haven't contacted my builder yet to verify that. So hopefully everything turns out. As we know, we have a lot of issues going on in the world now, so it's really causing some delays in getting things done as quickly as I was hoping to. Okay, so one of the things that's going to be installed in the motor build is Edelbrock Performer intake manifold. This will supposedly increase some low-end torque, as well as be a lot lighter than the stock manifold. And then of course we will be installing a Holley Sniper fuel injection system on this manifold, which will look pretty sharp, I think. Another item that's going to be installed in the engine rebuild is a Comp Cam's 268H cam. I have been told by the AMC enthusiasts that this cam will wake up the motor pretty well, provide good low-end grunt, and not really sacrifice too much on the higher mid-range. Going with their recommendations, so this the kit comes with the cam, springs, lifters, valve keepers, valve guide seals, caps, as well as a timing set. Now for the exciting part here. This is a Holley Sniper EFI system. This is going to replace the carburetor. This is a full kit. Includes all the wiring, oxygen sensors. There's the wiring for fuel injection or fuel pumps. Also includes a display console here, temperature control, pretty much everything you need to get to fuel injection. And being as that I'm converting to fuel injection, I needed a means to get a high pressure pump into the system. So rather than tearing the tanks apart and putting high pressure pumps in the tanks, I decided to opt for what they call a surge tank. So picked up this surge tank. Which came with its own pump. High pressure pump to run the FI system. This will fit in there. Came with its own fittings to convert the existing fuel lines to your FI system. So some grommets keep it from rattling on your frame, and some more fittings for your inlet and outlet lines. So that'll be installed, and this makes it a lot easier than running high pressure pumps in the tanks, or high pressure pumps, external high pressure pumps that would be mounted to the frame, which a lot of times create a lot of noise. So by doing this, I can keep my existing fuel system stock, and really the only thing that's going to be different is from this box to fuel injection. One thing I do like about staying with the surge tank setup is that my existing fuel delivery system has two electric fuel pumps, low pressure fuel pumps for, of course, carburation. But by having two electric fuel pumps in the system, of course, I have two fuel tanks as well. So I got basically a low pressure fuel pump on each tank, which allows me a backup in the field. If one or the other fuel pump should fail, I can just cross over the fuel lines and be operational again. So with the surge tank, it's mounted underneath the hood, so it's got easy access. So if for whatever reason you're out in the field and this high pressure pump fails, I'll be carrying a spare with me, and basically it's probably about a 10-15 minute change out, and I can be on the road again. So definitely got some backup opportunities with this system, because obviously if you have a high pressure pump fail in the tank out in the field, it wouldn't be so much fun to try and replace or get operational. Where this here, I just unbolt these 4 screws, disconnect the wires, and put in the new one, and we're good to go again. Alright, one other thing that I'm going to be installing while the motor's out being worked on is light bars, and these are going to fit in the front brush guard right in front of the bumper. Of course, these are light bars that I got from Harbor Freight, and they seem to be of fairly good quality, so I'll be interested to see how they perform. They're not exactly cheap, but they're also not expensive. I would rate them somewhere in between expensive and cheap. Fairly well built. Fins are not bendable, which on your cheaper light bars, these fins are fairly easy to bend, but they're actually fairly sturdy. Cases are pretty solid. Not cheap. It's got a nice grommet here where it goes into the body, and also a nice waterproof plug. The nice thing I did like about these is that if you didn't want to use their wiring kit, they actually supply you a nice little pigtail, so you can just plug these in and wire into whatever wiring system that you already have. But the nice thing about this is that if you cut this wire here so that you can access the two wires that are in there, you basically have compromised the waterproofness of the case, because water and dust will go up this cable. As you can tell here, I mean, it's not perfect, so if you submerged in water, it would flow up this tube into the case. So by having this plug here, it blocks off the dust and water from being able to get in there, and then by allowing you to have this little pigtail, plug in, wire into whatever wiring you have, and you don't have to worry about compromising your seals. So did like that, so I'm really anxious to see how these hold up. So
I want my money back.